Hi, thanks for tuning in. My name's Steven and I'm one of the ambassadors for Veniard, and welcome to the Sportfish Spring Spectacular 2024. Today I'm going to be tying you an early season olive cripple emerger. This fly is most effective early on in the hatch, when the trout are still to lock onto those duns. We're going to utilise some great new dubbings from Veniard's. These are available in some fantastic colours and have just the right amount of UV flash. The range consists of ginger, pale olive, black and March brown. But today we're going to utilise the UV pale olive. These are all available from Sportfish and they're great for both nymphs and dries, so they're well worth adding to your dubbing selections. So now let's get on to the tying. So in the vise we've got a Partridge K14A Caddis emerger hook, and we're going to come in with some UTC 70 in olive. So we're going to put 3 or 4 wraps just to lock that in and trim off the butt ends. And then the first material we're going to come in with is some Veniard's Parapost and Wing in white, and this is going to act as a shuck. So the best way to tie this in is if you pull it underneath your thread to the top of the shank, you can then pull all those fibres down and then a couple of turns to lock them in. So we're going to tie this right down into the bend, like so, and then trim this off. You want to leave a little bit of length, as I say this is going to act as the shuck, so there should do us. And then the next material we're going to tie in is a strip quill. So this is a golden olive from Veniard's. So these have been moistened slightly just to stop them breaking as we wrap them up the body. So tie that in right at the butt and come back up the shank and back into the tying point. So I'm going to create a very slight taper. So I'm going to flatten my thread off and come back down and then flatten off and back up. Now I'll wrap this now right to the eye, and I always do the first turn by hand, and this just helps stop the quill breaking, and then attach our hackle plier. So don't worry if you've not got a rotary vise, you can just do this normally, but I tend to use the rotary on this one, and we're going to create a nice segment as we come up the hook. So bring this right up to the tying point, making sure those are all touching turns, and then I'm going to back my tying thread off like so, and then lock this in. So a couple of turns behind and a couple of turns in front. Make sure that's nicely secure. So then the next material is some CDC feathers. So I'm going to take 3 CDC feathers and I'm going to stack them on top of each other, making sure all the tips are aligned. Like so. And then this is going to be about a hook length long, so like that, with a pinching turn, and we're going to take this back down to about the hook point. So just one more turn there should do us, and then we're going to trim these butts out. Now we want to leave a little bit of these butts showing, and this will help with the flotation of the fly, like so. Then our next material is a hackle. So I'm actually using a dun variant, but you could use a grizzly hackle or a silver badger hackle or a dun hackle. It doesn't really matter, and this is going to sort of imitate the legs. So we're going to tie that in at the back here, like so, and then add some dubbing. So this is the APT UV Pale Olive. Really nice dubbing, just got a little bit of flash in it, not too much, but you can get a nice tight dubbing loop with this. So you don't want too much, as I say, just enough to cover that thorax. So I'm going to take a couple of turns behind, and then nip down the stem of that feather, making sure it's nice and tight, and tie right up to just behind the CDC. So it's just a case of palmering this hackle. So I'm going to do a turn at the back and then some open turns towards the front of the eye. And you can see with these open turns it creates a nice segmentation. So another half a turn there, and we're going to lock that off with the thread. So turn behind, another turn behind, want to make sure this is nice and secure, and then one turn in front, and we can trim this out. Then lift the CDC feathers up, and we'll do 1, 2, 3 turns in front. Now I don't tend to add any varnish to this. I will always just put a little bit of wax, clockwise spin my thread to cord it up, and then some whip finishes. Now I always do 2 whip finishes for extra security. So 1, 2, 3, and then another one. 1, 2, 3. So the fly's now almost finished. Just going to cut this thread out. You might get a few little stragglers at the front of the eye, so you can just nip those out with a pair of tweezers, like so. And then we're going to turn the fly upside down, and we're going to trim all these hackles off the bottom. With this being a Cripple emerger, we want it to sit really low in the film of the water. So I'll trim these out. Just a couple more there. And then that's our finished fly. Thank you for watching.